You want this me, Joshua Aldridge.
Yeah, Adam Jaden.
Oh, yeah, he don't care. But anyways,
Doing a commentary on this shitty, horrible short.
it's
Started
hard.
about the cat.
Yeah, it's like Matinee Mouse, but somehow way worse. In the in the Matinee Mouse commentary said this was better because it had actual story, but there's no story. And Matinee Mouse actually has story and plot progression, but this really has no story and no plot progression of anything. Until the very end, but it's just so horrible. But the ending is so horrible and lazy. And once again, the original directors and animators are credited, but there's no animators that weren't on the original. And I don't find it likely they would have hired back the original animators.
Yeah, if they did, it would look way less shitty.
Also,
I'm assuming it's probably just one animator because the segments featuring the new animation are so short. It's basically just watching a compilation of old shorts, just redone with shitty new music and shitty sound effects for literally no
literally
reason.
bad. So
the story, there's another Chuck Jones classic, just in case you didn't already know that. But the story is that Tom is watching old clips and old footage to see where he went wrong and trying to figure out new ways to catch him with calculations and random stuff. But it's just a random stupid excuse. It reminds me of the shitty and horrible Looney Bugs movie or whatever the fuck it's called. What? No. The point is that it's shitty, and that reminds you that you're not watching an actual good short, but you're watching a shitty thing instead of the shorts for some reason.
I guess because of college.
Imagine all the back in the day where they didn't have random reruns in the theater or TV or VHS or anything. Imagine this being introduced to the shorts. That'd be so horrible. Also, they keep playing the same clips rewinded back for no reason with shitty new music and shitty new sound effects.
So yeah, the short is literally a billion times worse because there's literally no story in anything. It's just clips in horrible quality with horrible audio, and then there's these new random clips. I don't find it likely that they hired back the old animators, but in this short, in the Matinee Mouse short, like I mentioned in the commentary for that short that I already mentioned, like I mentioned in that commentary, the characters, according to the Tom J. Wiki, were apparently redesigned to fit in the Hanna-Barbera style, but there's no point, because at least it's Shutterbug Cat, because he's just watching old footage, so there's no point until the previously mentioned horrible and cheap and lazy ending.
And also
Matinee Mouse gets a plus because it's shorter, so there's less horribleness.
Even though it does make it more pointless. Speaking of pointless, the short really has the worst pacing of all time. Even the other Chuck Jones shorts are really shitty pacing and timing. But here, the pacing and timing is so horrible, but there's not even any slapstick, so yeah, that's okay.
Well, besides in the old shorts, at least in Matinee Mouse, there was still some sort of attempt at slapstick, even though it's super horribly edited and executed. But there's still some sort of attempt, but no attempt.
Also, I forgot to mention in the Matinee Mouse commentary, at the part with the random Jerry and the lion footage with the door shaking and Tom blowing up or something. In the context of the show, Jerry's just beating Tom up until Tom asks for a truce, then they become friends. That's literally the worst thing of all time.
Also, it completely ruins the context of the original short because there was the random lion that was protecting Jerry, then he beat him up. So they basically just changed the context and just made it even worse.
It just made Jerry an asshole for no reason, which doesn't even make sense. Especially since, well, I guess that's why they had the random clip of Tom pulling those random pranks and tricks on him into the gang. They have justified the Jerry's being an asshole, but would have made the whole thing even better if it just didn't exist.
So, yeah. Also, they just literally play the whole entire scene besides the horrible music and sound effects. They play the whole entire minute-long scene backwards. It's so cheap.
And then they play the same thing again. So
that's literally the worst thing ever.
I have no idea what these clips exist. Was to remind them of the old days where the shorts were not shitty.
Also, I'm assuming that the shorts are sort of contractual obligation or something, and that they had to make a specific amount of shorts. Otherwise, these shorts probably wouldn't have existed. They will probably save more money if they just didn't make these shorts than then just make them. Also, they're just so bad.
So shitty. As you can tell, they don't really have anything to say about it besides how shitty it is. So I guess it is something serious.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, the horrible and lazy ending that I was mentioning earlier is so bad and cheap. Yeah, I was so distracted by the complete horribleness of the short.
The short is long. I feel that if they cut out all the filler and horribleness, which is basically the whole short, so they could just not make the whole short And yeah, if they cut out all the filler and horribleness in the short, then it will just be like half a second long.
So yeah, anyway, this basically just steals the ending from Designs on Jerry.
And by steals, it means basically just the entire thing copied over because it's the same footage. Also, every single
with the new music and sound effects, but the characters look more like they're the Hanna-Barbera style, I guess. There's not really any sort of compliment on anything, because it's still just super, super terrible and horrible and obvious.
Also, for some reason, every time I see Designs on Jerry on any release, it's in such a shitty quality for no reason. Even though it's one of the shorts I see broadcast the most, but I don't really know why it's in such a shitty quality. Having it in the shitty quality Chuck Jones shorts with even shittier quality makes the quality look even shittier. I don't know what I'm saying.
So yeah, basically this is literally extreme cheap. It's like the laziest ending to anything that's ever existed ever. Then you just steal the end from the short, and then just make it extremely worse by the horrible audio.
And soon we're gonna get to the best part of the short, the ending. And by the ending, I mean the dark screen. That's really the best part of everything. Just watching a dark screen for 6 minutes would have been.
Anyway, the sequence is ruined by the horrible music and the horrible sound effects, and it just makes it super horrible and bad.
Yeah, it just kind of ruins the whole ending. I guess the context is that he started all these clips just to make this huge contraption of mousetraps, even though I don't really know how he got that from clips of him crashing through the window and crashing through the wall and blowing up and stuff. I don't know how he got all of this from those random clips, but it's just
that this itself is obviously an old clip, so yeah, anyway, the ending is stupid and horrible and cheap.
Anyway,
there's basically no reason for anything.
With not having the classic music and sound effects and the timing is just way off, just completely ruined. Also, what the fuck was that?
I guess because of that.
It just kind of ruins the whole thing. So when it gets smashed with the save, it doesn't turn into the safe shape. So it just ruins everything so shitty.
This cartoon is just so bad. So yeah, end.
God.
Part.